I can tell you a little about Iowa. She is over 7,000 tons of steel, a maze of meandering wires and pipes, a visual cacophony of computers, switches, gauges, and valves, deadly quiet, a marvel of engineering powered by a nuclear reactor, able to strike fear in the hearts of any foe, and all of that designed to sink beneath the ocean and come back to the surface again safely. If you tour the ship later today, you will be in awe of the organized chaos that is a modern submarine, and you will wonder how it all works. But she is a lifeless object. Left to her own devices, she will sit at this pier, the dust will gather, the paint will fade, and the metal will rust. It is the crew that brings her to life. These women and men standing before you, these sailors who volunteered to serve their country and then volunteered again to be submariners. These sailors who persisted through the trials and tribulations of building a warship and taking her to sea for the first time. These sailors who have faced the challenges of an uncertain future. They are the crew of the USS Iowa, and they are why we are here today. So to the crew, words cannot express how proud I am of each one of you. When you cast off lines for Iowa's maiden voyage on November 4th, you were novices, unsure of yourselves as your sea legs wobbled beneath you. But you were well trained and eager to succeed, and succeed you did. Every challenge thrown in your direction was met with an insatiable desire to learn and improve. You grew by leaps and bounds through triumph and adversity. You are now what I would describe, borrowing the unmistakable words of our weapons officer, a crack team of top men and women. Confident, competent, efficient, and when necessary, deadly.
Officers and crew of the USS Iowa, board our boat and bring her to life.
It is my distinct honor and privilege to welcome you to Submarine Base New London and the commissioning of USS Iowa. I'm Lieutenant Commander Scott Carper, the ship's executive officer. On behalf of the crew of your submarine Iowa, I would like to express our sincere gratitude for you joining us here today. We are here today to celebrate the commissioning of USS Iowa, the third ship to bear the name of the Hawkeye State. The first USS Iowa was a pre-dreadnought battleship built for the United States Navy in the mid-1890s. The ship was designed to operate on the high seas and was armed with a battery of 4 12-inch guns and 2 twin-gun turrets, supported by a secondary battery of 8 8-inch guns. Upon entering service in June 1897, Iowa conducted training operations in the Atlantic Ocean before moving to the Caribbean in early 1898 as tensions between the United States and Spain over Cuba grew. At the outbreak of the Spanish-American War, the ship took part in the bombardment of San Juan, Puerto Rico, where Iowa assisted in the destruction of 3 of the 4 Spanish cruisers. Iowa was modernized between 1908 and 1910. She thereafter served as a training ship for naval midshipmen from the United States Naval Academy and for naval militia crews. Removed from service in 1913 and decommissioned in 1914, she was reactivated after the United States entered World War I in April 1917. She was decommissioned again in 1919. The second commissioned USS Iowa, BB-61, was the lead ship of her class. During World War II, she carried President Franklin D. Roosevelt across the Atlantic to meet with Prime Minister Winston Churchill of the United Kingdom and Joseph Stalin, leader of the Soviet Union. When transferred to the Pacific Fleet in 1944, Iowa shelled beachheads at Kwajalein and Eniwetok in advance of Allied amphibious landings and screened aircraft carriers operating in the Marshall Islands. She also served as the Third Fleet flagship, flying Admiral William F. Halsey's flag at the Japanese surrender in Tokyo Bay. During the Korean War, Iowa was involved in raids on the North Korean coast, where she earned the nickname the Gray Ghost. After the Korean War, she decommissioned into the United States Navy Reserve Fleet. She was reactivated in 1984 as part of the 600-ship Navy plan and operated in both the Atlantic and Pacific fleets to counter the recently expanded Soviet Navy. Iowa was decommissioned for the last time in October 1990. We are delighted to have several former crew members of the 2nd Iowa here today. Gentlemen, please stand and be recognized. Would all active duty, veterans, and first responders please stand? Would all military and first responder families please stand? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your service and sacrifice. Additionally, we are honored to have several Gold Star families with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, we recognize the significance of your loved one's sacrifice to our nation. Thank you. We are also excited to welcome members of the Royal Australian Navy. Please be seated. The new Iowa, moored before you, affectionately referred to as a boat by members of the submarine community and the crew, will soon join America's silent service. SSN 797 is a Virginia-class submarine, and with her sister ships, she represents a revolution in submarine design, construction, and mission capability. Brimming with cutting-edge technology and advanced engineering, this vessel brings versatility and firepower to the fleet. Iowa and the Virginia class are among the most effective platforms in the United States Navy, and this warship takes another step forward in advancing the superiority of our submarine force. Capable of operating in the far corners of the world's oceans undetected while connected to air, sea, and land-based forces, these submarines are equipped to wage multidimensional warfare around the globe. Iowa's adaptability makes it highly responsive to changing mission requirements and provides the nation with the capabilities required to be a decisive factor in any conflict. In addition to anti-submarine warfare, anti-surface ship warfare, and counter-mine warfare, Iowa will support surveillance, special operations, and covert strike missions. Construction began on the submarine you see behind me in August 2019, and she was christened on June 17, 2023, down the Thames River at General Dynamics Electric Boat. Today, USS Iowa is tested and battle-ready. We are all very proud to serve on the newest attack submarine in the United States Navy. Thank you for allowing each of us the privilege to serve our nation as a part of your Navy. The commissioning ceremony is a time-honored tradition that began with the commissioning of the Navy's first ship, a captured British schooner, the Margaretta, in 1775. Since then, thousands of ships have undergone the transition from silent hull to a fully alive warship. My shipmates, our crew, hereafter referred to as plank owners, are in formation and ready. Retire the colors.
Color guard, carry, colors. Colors, colors, turn.
Platform. Ready? 2. We'd like to thank Navy Band Northeast, Master Chief Retired Larry Alger, Submarine Base New London Saluting Battery, and the Submarine School Silver Dolphin Color Guard for their participation in our ceremony today. Ladies and gentlemen, Chaplain McGraw will deliver the invocation.
I invite you to join me in prayer. Gracious God, as we joyfully gather here to celebrate this commissioning, we give thanks for the freedom we enjoy, the peace earned and defended by so many, and your goodness in blessing this nation so richly. What a fine Navy day. Gray, cloudy, windy, a little cold. Typically beautiful Groton weather here at the submarine capital of the world, but at the same time we are grateful that it's not raining. A poet once wrote that no man is an island, and it is true that alone we can do so little, but together we are made strong. Here today are so many from the great state of Iowa, joining friends and family from across this great nation, allies from around the world, industry partners, a crew gathered from every place and background, in a boat which carries a worthy name. We thank you for this embodiment of what we strive for.
377 feet of ruthless, silent, and unmatched American strength, built by the grit and determination of American shipyard workers. I would like to welcome and give my sincere thanks to several very important people joining us today. Our ship sponsor, Ms. Christy Vilsack. To our principal speaker, Governor Reynolds, thank you for your ardent support and homegrown Iowa pride. Senator Blumenthal, Congressman Courtney, Congresswoman Miller Meeks, thank you for all your kind words and continued congressional support for America's lethal maritime fighting force. Commander Shugart, you honor us today, sir, when your attendance is you pass the mantle of Iowa to the next generation. Our Secretary of the Navy, the Honorable John Phelan, welcome, sir, and all of our distinguished guests. Thank you all for being here today for this monumentous and wonderful occasion. In this coming year, this crew of proud American sailors will put this warship to sea, carry the name Iowa to the far-flung corners of the globe, projecting combat power for decades to come. It just feels natural for us to have a warship named Iowa back on the Navy Register. For decades, the name Iowa reigned supreme amongst the high seas, bestowed upon the most powerful class of battleships of its time. So it is only fitting that our fleet's newest Iowa is similarly one of the most capable and lethal combat ships in our modern fleet, not to mention silent, deadly, and best part, undetectable. During World War II, the sight of the battleship Iowa looming high on the horizon intimidated our enemies, and rightly so. Now our adversaries will fear the ghost because they cannot see Iowa, always aware that she is out there roaming the seas and stalking her prey. And now for the crew, the fearless warriors before me that make this piece of metal of almost 8,000 tons with hundreds of miles of fiber optic cable and piping systems into a combat ship, a warship designed to decisively win our nation's battles, I offer the following. What you have accomplished in your preparation and execution to get this ship to the commissioning day is nothing short of amazing.
As two of my sons have done, one in the Marine Corps, the other as a Navy SEAL. And the work that you do every day makes us the greatest nation in the history of the world. Thank you to everyone who works at Electric Boat for your great service to our nation.
Thank you. That's two tough acts to follow, but I will do my best. On behalf of the 47th President of the United States, it is my pleasure to welcome all the honored guests, distinguished officers, shipbuilders, crew, and proud Americans in attendance today. This marks my first commissioning ceremony as SecNav, and it's a privilege to be here to introduce the newest attack submarine to our naval fleet, the USS Iowa, SSN 797. And there's no better place than Groton, Connecticut, the submarine capital of the world, to commission the next warship to join our warfighting Navy. Groton's rich maritime heritage is deeply embedded in the submarine community. I visited the yards yesterday, and it was one of the most impressive things I have seen. The facilities, the workers, and the public-private partnership that exists is truly world-class. Today's commissioning is a fitting tribute to Groton's enduring legacy of maritime excellence and its long-standing connection to the submarine industry. This is not just a milestone for USS Iowa, but a critical step forward in strengthening our Navy and ensuring America's global maritime dominance. The President and I are deeply committed to revitalizing our shipbuilding and maritime industrial base, and this commissioning is just the beginning of that effort. We need to modernize our acquisition and procurement systems to deliver the capabilities our Navy deserves without unnecessary delays or cost overruns. Our processes and decision-making must be faster and more efficient. I see many esteemed members of Congress here today, and I know they share these same goals. I'm committed to partnering with all of you to deliver results for our Navy and for our nation. Today is a representation of naval power, readiness, our ability to maintain superiority in the unforgiving depths beneath the rolling waves. It is a reminder that the Navy's strength is forged by those who serve the values they uphold and the sacrifices they stand ready to make in defense of our great nation. The name Iowa has long been synonymous with strength, resilience, and unwavering dedication to duty. And like the grit and tenacity of the Hawkeye State's early pioneers as they set out across the sprawling plains of Iowa, the sailors of the USS Iowa will embark with a similar mettle as they set forth on their mission. For nearly 250 years, the sea has left an indelible mark on history and the character of our nation. Make no mistake, naval warfare is evolving. Where battleships once ruled the seas, it is the silent strength of submarines that provides our Navy with an unmatched strategic advantage. The role of submarines in modern warfare is not just about strength, it's about deterrence. And as the Secretary of Defense and the President have made abundantly clear, peace through strength, enabled by strategic deterrence,
whose name she bears. May God bless the new USS Iowa and all who built her. May God bless her crew and give success to her mission. And may God bless Iowa and the United States of America. God bless you.
I will now read my orders. From Commander, Navy Military Personnel Command, to Commander Greg Coy, United States Navy. Subject, Buper's Order Number 7970 of 5 April 2025. When directed by Reporting Senior, detach from present duty and report to Pre-Commissioning Unit Iowa as Commanding Officer. Upon commissioning of USS Iowa, report for duty as Commanding Officer. Admiral Caudill, United States ship Iowa is in commission, and I am in command.
Very well, Captain. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Executive Officer, set the first watch.
Aye, aye, sir. Officer of the deck, set the first watch.
Aye, sir.
The officer of the deck is the commanding officer's direct representative, and while on watch, is responsible for the safety and smooth operation of the ship. The long glass is the traditional symbol of an officer of the deck's authority in a ship of the line. We are honored to have Commander Tim Shugart, United States Navy retired, and former crewman on BB-61 with us today. He will assist in setting the first watch by passing the long glass to our first ship's duty officer, Lieutenant Commander Vigneshwar Manikam from Germantown, Maryland. The Petty Officer of the Deck is Electronics Technician Navigation Seaman Amber Alanis Gonzalez from El Paso, Texas. The Topside Sentry is Logistics Specialist Submarine Second Class Jacob Stevenson from Farnhamville, Iowa. And the boatswain's mate of the watch is Boatswain's Mate Second Class Cody Shrewsbury from Pine Tops, North Carolina.
Officer of the deck, with the passing of the long glass, you and the crew of the USS Iowa SSN 797 are given the honor and duty of carrying out missions given to her with bravery and professionalism. May you, the crew, and the boat always understand that the great state of Iowa and the heroic service history of the battleship Iowa BB-61 are with you all. May you always have fair winds and following seas. Sir, you have the watch, you have the boat.
Set the watch. On deck. Section 1.
Sir, the watch is set.
Very well.
Forward. March.
Captain, the watch is set.
Very well. The spirit of a U.S. Navy warship is the embodiment of her sponsor. Our sponsor, Mrs. Christy Vilsack, christened the ship here in Groton on June 17, 2023, and imbued this ship and crew with her sense of devotion and grace. Christy, I would be honored if you would give the order to man our ship and bring her to life.
Officers and crew of the USS Iowa, board our boat and bring her to life.
Ladies and gentlemen, the crew of USS Iowa salute you. We are proud to serve in America's Navy. Iowa, ready? 2. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Captain, the ship is manned and ready.
Very well. Vice Admiral Goucher, United States ship Iowa is manned and ready and reports for duty.
Very well, Skipper. Congratulations. Welcome to the fleet.
Thank you, sir.
Now get out there and make anyone who will challenge America fear the ghost.
Thank you, sir. Secretary Phelan, request permission to break your flag, sir.
Permission granted. Break the flag. Break my flag.
Break your flag, aye, sir. Executive Officer, break the flag of the Secretary of the Navy.
Aye, aye, sir. Quartermaster, break the flag of the Secretary of the Navy.
Aye, aye, sir.
Captain, the flag of the Secretary of the Navy is flying proudly over USS Iowa.
Very well.
Ladies and gentlemen, Commander Greg Coy, United States Navy, Commanding Officer, USS Iowa.
Iowa, parade, rest. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, friends, family, and fellow shipmates, thank you for joining us today in the submarine capital of the world to proudly commission the Navy's newest Virginia-class submarine, USS Iowa. USS Iowa. Can't get that name wrong already. Jeez. You know, Vice Admiral Goucher told me not to screw it up, and there it was, so, all right. Secretary Phelan, thank you for presiding over today's ceremony and for your generous remarks. Admiral Caudle, Vice Admiral Goucher, Rear Admiral Rucker, it's an honor to share the stage with you as we welcome the next member of our submarine force to the fleet. Thank you for being here today and for your years of steadfast leadership. Mr. Reha, Congressman Courtney, Congressman Miller Meeks, Senator Blumenthal, and Governor Reynolds, thank you for your kind remarks and high praise. I especially appreciate the recognition of the accomplishments. Look back on your service and Holly without you. Words cannot express how proud I am of each one of you. When you cast off lines for Iowa's maiden voyage on November 4th, you were not.
And let her
Fight Iowa. Thank you. Words cannot express how proud I am of each one of you. When you cast will fade and the metal will rust. It is the crew that brings her to life. These women and men standing before you. These sailors who volunteer all works. But she is a lifeless object. Left to her own devices, she will sit at this pier, the dust will gather, the paint will fade, and the metal will rust. Meandering wires and pipes, a visual cacophony. For what is a ship without a crew to operate? Every spouse, partner, mother, father, brother, and sister, and all others who support a sailor, thank you for doing all the things that go unspoken. Now for the real reason we are here, to welcome a new warship and her crew to the fleet. While writing this speech, I was overcome with the momentousness of the occasion, and I had trouble figuring out what to say. But I began fixating on the order that our ship sponsor just gave us. Man the ship and bring her to life. It is simple, concise, and perfectly represents the meaning of this ceremony. For what is a ship without a crew to operate it? I can tell you a little about Iowa. She is over 7,000 tons of steel, a maze of meandering wires and pipes, a visual cacophony of computers, switches, gauges, and valves, deadly quiet, a marvel of engineering powered by a nuclear reactor, able to strike fear in the hearts of any foe, and all of that designed to sink beneath the ocean and come back to the surface again safely. If you tour the ship later today, you will be in awe of the organized chaos that is a modern submarine, and you will wonder how it all works. But she is a lifeless object. Left to her own devices, she will sit at this pier, the dust will gather, the paint will fade, and the metal will rust. It is the crew that brings her to life. These women and men standing before you, these sailors who volunteered to serve their country and then volunteered again to be submariners. These sailors who persisted through the trials and tribulations of building a warship and taking her to sea for the first time. These sailors who have faced the challenges of an uncertain future. They are the crew of the USS Iowa, and they are why we are here today. So to the crew, words cannot express how proud I am of each one of you. When you cast off lines for Iowa's maiden voyage on November 4th, you were novices, unsure of yourselves as your sea legs wobbled beneath you. But you were well trained and eager to succeed, and succeed you did. Every challenge thrown in your direction was met with an insatiable desire to learn and improve. You grew by leaps and bounds through triumph and adversity. You are now what I would describe, borrowing the unmistakable words of our weapons officer, a crack team of top men and women, confident, competent, efficient, and when necessary, deadly. You are the heart and soul of United States Ship Iowa, and I wouldn't go to sea with anyone else. All of us here today should be overwhelmed with pride and brimming with confidence in the future of this mighty warship, the submarine force, and our Navy. For I have no doubt that in a time of strife, as Iowa is tossed about by tempestuous seas, this crew will ensure she steadies with upright keel and proceeds silently, alone on a wide, wide sea, to do the work that only submariners can do. Iowa, attention. Fight Iowa. Thank you.